What we're going to discuss in this presentation is setting up Kodak Capture Desktop for ReadSoft products. Kodak Capture Desktop is intuitive, it's easy to operate, and it can be used as a capture solution for either forms, documents, or invoices, and oftentimes is included when you purchase a Kodak scanner. The professional version, KCP, also reads many barcodes types and works with many different scanner brands. So if you're interested in using the same interface across all the various scanners you have, that's a solution as well. I'm going to basically go over the job setup in this presentation. So if you're looking for image adjustments, there's another video. Please look for that and use that as you need. The first thing that we come to when we do a job setup is where are our images going to be located on our system. So it gives us the opportunity to define those in a custom location if we like. Then there's document separation. Are we going to do this manually? Is it something that we can do by a fixed page count? For example, with forms, you may have a 1 or 2 page or 2 image form for every document. So that way we can set it to automatically create documents by the page count. Or if you have a variable size document, you can also use the separator pages by putting a blank sheet in between each document. Then there's the setup for the batch index. If you need auditing information such as who was the scan operator, what station was used to scan it, that type of thing, that's basically all data that is gathered during the scanning process. So we only need to set it up to output, and whatever types of data that's available to the system you can output, or you can put in your own field if you need. For example, you have a batch number that you want to track through with your images. You can use that and possibly even incorporate it into your file name when it's output for ReadSoft. So that brings us to where are we going to output, what kind of file types. Is it a single or multi-page file that we want? Is it a format of TIFF or JPEG or PDF? All of those things can be set here, as well as more information for the file location that wasn't set up initially. So we'll have a root path, and then we'll have possibly another subdirectory that we go to based on what the documents are for this particular job. And are we going to have a particular file naming convention? You can get quite creative with that, and so that's what we're going to look at today. Okay, so I have Kodak Capture Desktop open, and to do the job setup, I go up to the File menu, and Job Setup is under there. So it starts us off where we have the selections for where the images will be located. This first location, Scanned Image Location, is the folder that we want to put the images while we're scanning the batch. In other words, this is temporary storage for the batch while we're working. The output location is going to be the root path of where we send the images when we output them for ReadSoft. I want to change that because it's set right now to the local hard drive, and I certainly want to go to a server path so that my ReadSoft server can find those images when it's going to run. So I'll go here to the images directory, and I have a subdirectory set up for this particular job. Okay, so that looks good. Then we can adjust the way the batch is going to be named if we need to do that. So right now it's set up with a prefix of batch and a counter with 4 digits. So I think I'm going to modify that because I have a particular batch job that I'm running here, so I want to use my code for that, and I want a little bit larger counter. I'm going to go with 6. So with the 6 digits here and 3 digits there, I have 9 digits total in my batch number. Okay, and then next is how are we going to do separation of the documents? So manually we can load a document into the hopper and then hit the new document button, and it will scan our documents through. Then when it's time for the next document, we can load it in and hit the button again, and so manually we're separating each of the documents by using the new document button. Or in my particular case here, I have a form, so I want every single page to be a new document. So I'll load a whole stack of forms in and run it through, and each document will be separated. Also, if I had variable number of pages, I can put blank separator sheets in between each document and use this feature, which would allow a stack to be put in as well, and then automatic separation whenever there's a blank page. Okay, the next tab, well, before I go any further, I'm using this ready to scan as my template for creating this job, but I want to make a new job, so I'm going to hit the floppy disk icon here, which is the add button. That will let me save a new job, and I'm going to call it the same name as my job code. Okay, I don't want to go too far and change my ready to scan settings. I really want to make these new settings. Okay, so here we have the ability to add batch and document indexes if we like. A document index doesn't make a lot of sense when we're using ReadSoft because it's going to pull a lot of those field values out for us. But maybe a batch index is something we could use. For example, if you had a batch number that was part of your internal workflow, okay, and we want this to actually stop scanning so that we can enter this value in before it goes any further. Okay, next we have the Output tab, and here we're set up for TIFF image, and it's set up for multi-page. If you remember, I set this earlier so that it would make a new document every page. So I really won't get multi-page files, I'll get single-page files, so this really doesn't matter. But if I was going to require single-page files, in other words, inside the document with many pages, it would come out as page 1, page 2, page 3, and so forth. So I don't really need that feature. It's going to be a single file every time for this job. And for black and white, I want group 4 compression. And for OCR purposes, the best thing for us to use is the TIFF file format with black and white. The next thing I can do is I can set up the location for the export, and as we mentioned before, there's a root path here, which is going to be the path that we set up earlier, and in this case it's going to make a subdirectory with the batch name, but that's not really what I want to do. I want to drop all of my files into that one subdirectory. ReadSoft does have the capability of processing from subdirectories, so I could do it this way, but I just prefer to make it a little bit simpler. So I'm going to leave the slash in there so that my file name will follow this, and then switch over to the File Name tab. And this formula looks like it's taking the station ID and it's adding an 8-digit document ID, and then the default extension in the case of what we chose will be TIFF. That's okay, but I'm going to take this station ID out because I'm not concerned with having that in my file name. And I have the batch index that I made down here, and what I'd rather do is incorporate that. I'm going to cut that out of that location and add it into the beginning here so that every document is prefixed with my internal batch number. And so that will be my file name. So I've got the export path showing here with the slash, and then my file name is going to be batch number with an 8-digit ID and the default extension. Now the other thing we can do here is we can strictly enforce that option by putting report an error and abort when it doesn't match this particular value. Or if it's possible for me to run this same batch number later and with the same ID number, I could have this option to add a sequence number to the file name. So if the same files came through again, instead of aborting, it would give me a -1, -2, and so forth. So that's really just a preference. And there we go. Everything is kind of set up in here. Now if I want the batch index as well, I have to turn the index file on, and here I have the ability to do batch, document, or image index files. I don't need a document index, but I would like to have the batch index. And options here are for XML. I could also have a text file. XML is going to be fine for my purposes. It's going to drop it into that root path, which is good. I don't need to change that at all. And the batch name.xml sounds fine, but I may want to change some of this content. They're having everything that could possibly happen in here. That may be okay, but if I don't want it to be quite as confusing as all this, then I can just put in here what I need. Okay, and I'll apply that. Say OK, and now that batch is ready to use. So, or that job rather is ready to use. So if I go to make a new batch, instead of the last one, I'm going to use the new one that I made up. And here's the batch name with the prefix. And the starting document ID number is 1. Now, if I want these document IDs to continuously increment from one batch to the next, I have another change that I have to make. So I'll hit OK to create that batch. But I'm going to make a change to the job. Oh, okay. It's already turned off. This reset document ID option will actually set it back to 1 for every new batch. If I don't have this checked, then my document number will continuously advance. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching.